Hey guys, it's JC Theater Yu-Gi-Oh here today, and I'm coming at you with a Sylvan deck profile for you. I definitely like the whole excavation mechanic of Sylvans, and I like the art of it, and ultimately I think it's a very good and fun plant deck, but I believe it's very, very luck-based, which is why it hasn't seen any competitive play, especially recently, but ultimately this is a very cool and interesting deck, and I'm very excited to show you guys. So without further ado, here is my 2019 Sylvan deck profile for you. So starting off, I play 3 Sylvan Drax. Now I know I'm butchering that name, but for the most part, it's definitely a very good card. It is a level 1 plant monster, and if it's sent from the field or the hand to the graveyard, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a plant monster, send it to the graveyard, otherwise place it on the bottom of your deck. Now that effect is very important because that's basically how to activate the other effects of Sylvans, because Sylvans usually have 2 effects. They have their first effect, some way or another, has you excavate a certain amount of cards from the top of your deck, and then any plants within those excavated cards, which means you just pick up those cards and look at them. If any plants are in there, you send those plants to the graveyard. And then if there are any spells or traps or non-plant monsters, but in this deck it'll just be your spells or traps, they're sent to the bottom of your deck instead of sent to the graveyard. The excavation part is important because as opposed to milling, Sylvans gain effects when they're excavated, which means you lift them from the top of your deck and look at them, and if they're plants, they get sent to the graveyard. So Drax's effect when he's excavated is that you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a plant monster, send it to the graveyard, otherwise place it on the bottom of your deck. The reason why I like him is because if he's discarded to the graveyard, or if he's sent from your hand to the graveyard, or from your field to the graveyard by linking him off or something, you get to excavate a card from the top of your deck. Even if he is the card excavated from the top of your deck to the graveyard, he has the same effect where you can just go deeper into your deck and get off more of your plays. Next up for another level 1 plant is Cherub Sprout. If Cherub Sprout is special summoned, then you get the excavating effect, but this time you either get to pick 1 or 2, and that's how many cards you excavate off the top of your deck. Additionally, if Cherub Sprout is the one excavated and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 level 1 plant monster from your deck, including Cherub Sprout, Drax, or any other level 1 plant in the deck, including one of the 2 Sylvan Princess Sprouts. Now, Sylvan Princess Sprout has 2 effects, and you can use one of them per turn. You can tribute her in order to excavate the top card of your deck and send it to the graveyard, and then you can place 1 Sprout monster in your graveyard on top of your deck. So that includes Princess Sprout or Cherub Sprout. Additionally, the second effect is if she's excavated herself from the deck and sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can declare a level from 1 to 8, special summon her from the graveyard, and if you do, she becomes that level. The second effect does matter in a different strategy with Sylvans where you want to get their higher level Xyz monsters out, but for the most part I just use her for her first effect. Another level 1 plant Sylvan is going to be Sylvan Peacekeeper. Peacekeeper has the effect where if he's normal or special summon, you can excavate the top card of your deck. And then additionally, if it's excavated and sent to the graveyard, you can target a level 4 or lower plant monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. So he's basically a recursion card, and also it's sometimes nice to just straight up have the summon automatically excavate a card. The most iffy card I'm on about this deck is one of the 3 Sylvan Comushrumos. Now, Sylvan Comushrumo has the effect where if he's flipped face up, you can choose a number from 1 to 5 and then use the excavation effect. Additionally, if he himself is excavated and sent to the graveyard, you can target a spell or trap on the field and destroy that target. Being a spell or trap destruction is definitely good when he's excavated, and it's very, very fun and good to have him flipped face up and be able to excavate 5 cards, because that gets a lot of plays going off. The only downside is you have to set him and wait for your opponent to attack him most of the time in order to have him flipped face up. He does have 2,000 defense, however, but in 2019 Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't think that'll stop anything for the most part, especially if your opponent realizes you're playing Sylvans and knows you probably don't have anything too strong face down. In addition, I have 3 Sylvan Martial Leaf. When Martial Leaf is summoned, you can choose either 1 or 2 and excavate that many cards and do the usual. And then if he himself is excavated and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 monster on the field and destroy that target. So he's kind of the sidekick to Kogamushrimo, to where Kogamushrimo is Spell or Trap, and then Martial Leaf is Monster. Next up, for the higher level Sylvans, I play 3 Sylvan Sage Koya. Now, when a Sylvan monster is sent to the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon Sage Koya from your hand onto the field. And once per turn, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a plant monster, you send it to the graveyard and all that good stuff. And then, if he himself is excavated from the deck and sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Sylvan Spell or Trap in your graveyard and add that to your hand, which will be important later when we get to the spells and traps. And finally, for the Sylvan monsters, we play 3 Sylvan Hermitry. Once per turn, you can excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a plant monster, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, draw 1 card. So that's a little special extra bonus to his excavation thing. And then, of course, if it isn't a plant monster, put it on the bottom of your deck. And if he himself is excavated from the deck and sent to the graveyard, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then place them atop your deck in any order. So that's kind of nice to set up your future plays, even if you're already done with your plays, and just to know your draw for the next turn and stuff. It's definitely a good effect. On to some support that are also plant monsters. I play 3 Flowerbot. Flowerbot is good, and I strongly believe it's like a spiritual successor, like a spiritual part of Sylvans in a way, because Flowerbot has the effect where if it's sent to the graveyard, you can draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand on top of the deck. What Flowerbot does is 2-dimensional with Sylvans. For one, since Sylvans excavate plants and send them to the graveyard, that gets Flowerbot's effect off. Since it's just any way it gets sent to the graveyard, it activates its effect, so you get a free draw. On top of that, sometimes the Sylvans in your hand, you would rather have use their excavated effects, which of course they can't use if they're already in your hand. Flowerbot making you place a plant or place a card from your hand onto your deck allows you to kind of choose and set a Sylvan from your hand onto the top of your deck, so that way you can excavate them with other cards you have. Another card that is very good in the graveyard is Rose Lover. Rose Lover has the effect where you can banish her from your graveyard in order to special summon a plant type monster from your hand, and if you do, it's unaffected by your opponent's trap effects. Even though this is a hard once per turn, it's still very good to get Rose Lover into the graveyard, so that way you can get off more plays from your hand. Some other cards that just special summon from the graveyard that are plants is Spore, Glow Up Bulb, and then World Carrot Weight Champion. World Carrot Weight Champion has you send a plant monster from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard in order to special summon him out from your graveyard. Glow Up Bulb has you mill the top card of your deck to the graveyard, which sadly doesn't excavate to get off their effects, but you still like most of your plants in the graveyard. And then Spore, if he's in your graveyard, you can remove from play another plant monster from your graveyard to special summon it. So they all have a different way to special summon themselves out from your graveyard back onto the field for some field presence. Additionally, a little tech I have in here is actually Nacheria Pineapple. It's kind of like a Treeborn Frog for the deck in a way. All face-up monsters you control are treated as plant-type monsters, which doesn't affect anything since all monsters in this deck are plants. Well, all main deck monsters anyway. If Nacheria Pineapple is in your graveyard during your standby phase and you control no spells or traps, you can special summon it, and sadly it cannot be activated if you control a face-up Nacheria Pineapple or you have monsters in your graveyard that are not plant or beast type. So once you start digging into the extra deck, Nacheria Pineapple becomes a lot weaker, but early on before you start getting a lot of extra deck monsters into the graveyard, Nacheria Pineapple is a very good card to recur itself back onto the field. Now onto the very limited amount of spells, since you want to run mainly monsters to get off all the excavation effects. First off, I play 1/1 since we are playing so many level 1 monsters in the deck, and in addition we do like a lot of our plants to be in the graveyard since they have graveyard effects. 1 Monster Reborn since we're sending so many plant monsters from the deck to the graveyard, and 1 Foolish Burial. I usually honestly pick Flower Bot since its effect goes off when it's just in the graveyard, but also Rose Lover is a very good option. Those are usually the 2 I go into the most because Flower Bot gets you more draw power and advantage, and then Rose Lover allows you to special summon a Sylvan up from your hand usually, and they have the effects that let you excavate. In addition, I have card destruction for a little draw power as well as to pump up the graveyard a little more. And finally, one of the coolest draw cards, 3 Sylvan Charity. Now Sylvan Charity lets you draw 3 cards, and if you have a Sylvan card in your hand, you reveal 2 cards from your hand, which includes at least 1 Sylvan card, and place them on top of the deck in any order. But if you don't have any Sylvans in your hand, you have to reveal your entire hand, then place it on your deck in any order. Basically, Sylvan Charity lets you draw 3 cards, and then you just have to take 2 cards from your hand, 1 being a Sylvan, and place them on top of your deck. That's definitely very good for not only this strategy, but honestly in general, to go 3 cards deep in the deck is very nice, and then you can kind of fix your hands that way a little bit. Also, Sylvan Charity is what Sage Koya can get back from your graveyard back to your hand for more use of it. For the extra deck, I play 1 Link Karibo since we're playing so many level 1s. 1 Aromatherapy Jasmine since we're playing so many plant monsters in the deck, or exclusively plant monsters in the main deck. And the main thing that is good about Aromatherapy Jasmine is that you can tribute 1 monster it points to special summon 1 plant monster from your deck in defense position, which helps you get plays out and stuff. An interesting extra deck card that I play 2 of is actually 2 Akashic Magician. I didn't even really notice this until I was making this deck, but Akashic Magician's effect, which takes 2 monsters with the same type, so 2 plant monsters in the case of this deck, you can only link summon her once per turn, and if she is link summoned, you return all monsters she points to the hand, and once per turn, you can declare 1 card name and excavate cards from the top of your deck equal to the total link rating of the link monsters co-linked to her, and then if you excavated any copies of the declared card, you add it to your hand and send the remaining cards to the graveyard. The reason this is important is because that means that Akashic Magician, basically, you can call any name, and if you do get it right, that'd be very good, because you do have a chance of getting it right since you have some cards that let you stack your deck. But ultimately, she excavates your deck and sends plants to the graveyard, and so that's very, very good. Additionally, I play 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Pentastag, 1 Borolo Dragon, 1 Underclock Taker, and then 1 Crusadia Avermax for the rest of the links. This is a pretty link heavy deck, to be honest. And then finally, the last 2 cards I have are 2 Xyz monsters, which are 2 Sylvan Princess sprites, which are actually pretty good. Now she takes 2 level 1 monsters, and you can detach an Xyz material from her to excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a spell or trap card, add it to your hand, otherwise send it to the graveyard. So basically, if you do happen to be unlucky and get one of your spells or traps, you can add your spell to your hand, and if not, you can still activate the effects of all your Sylvans since they'll be sent to the graveyard. She also has a second effect where you can send 1 other plant monster from your hand or face it from your field to the graveyard to target a Sylvan monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So ultimately, Princess Sprite is definitely a very good card in the deck. Let me know what you guys think of the deck profile down below. I know it's 2019 and usually Sylvans aren't really seeing much play or representation anywhere at all, and I see why. It's ultimately super luck based, and you gotta kind of get the right cards in order to get plays off, but when you get plays off, it's very fun. I like the theme of the deck, and I like really everything about Sylvans. They're very, very interesting to me. I just want to say, I did forget the 1 copy of Reasoning. I thought of it as I was doing the extra deck. I was like, wait a minute, did I ever add Reasoning to this deck? So I would recommend adding Reasoning to this deck, and if anything, getting rid of, I don't even know, one of the monsters maybe, which definitely sucks because you want to have as many monsters as possible. But even potentially run a 41 card deck, who knows. But the point is, thank you so much guys for watching. If you liked the video, or if you like Sylvans in general, please consider giving this video a like, and please, please, please subscribe. It would make my day. Thank you so much. I'm JC Theater Yu-Gi-Oh! See ya!